you're so beautiful.
Oh, stop.
How are you?
I'm good. So my name's Jamila. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I'm a full spectrum doula. I do mostly birth work and like really light postpartum work.
Yeah, okay. What made you want to be a doula?
Um, and people always say like I had a calling, and I guess it kind of like it just kept coming up for a while. But like I've always loved working with children, and I love babies. But like that's just one part of it. I think it really hit me when my aunt got pregnant, and I basically spent her entire pregnancy as her unofficial doula. And
Mm.
then when she went into the hospital, and then like the series of things we all know about, ultimately leading to a C-section. Um, that's when I knew like this is stuff that I like to do and I want to learn more about it. So I took my first training right after that.
Who did you train with?
I trained with ancient song.
Me too. I love them. How long have you been a doula?
I trained with ancient song in 2018. I took a little break over COVID, of course, but I'm back in the game.
Nice. So do you mostly attend hospital births or home births?
Yeah, I mostly attend hospital births right now. I do want to get into more home births, but I also want to take like a birth assistant training.
Ooh, nice. Okay, awesome. My second question, if you could change one thing about your work, what would it be?
Um, midwife at Woodhull a couple of years ago when I was training with Ancient Song, she was like, people should be allowed to have the full team. You know, like a doula, a midwife, an OBGYN, like trusted nurses, like lactation consultants. And I think that would just make a world of difference. Like if people could just have a team that was truly working for their best interests and like how they wanted to experience giving birth, I think that would change everything.
Yeah, I agree. And just like off the back, like, okay, this is gonna be your midwife. These are the doulas that you can have and stuff like that.
Right. And then like your OBGYN isn't there like this is what I'm gonna do. Your OBGYN is just there like so I'm here for any medical issues and as a backup because like we have to know if something goes wrong with the plan, but we don't have to start there.
Right, right. I agree. Okay. What is your most memorable doula moment?
Oh my gosh. I think I had a client, and her biggest thing was that she really wanted her partner to support her. So we did a little bit of work around like what her partner could do while she was going through labor at home and then in the hospital. And like when he would contact me, so he was our point person, and he just did like an amazing job of like keeping in touch with me the whole time till I got there and like watching me do comfort measures with her and then stepping in when I told him to. And then like when she was going like into active labor, just like telling her beautiful things. And it was just really great to see because like that's all she really wanted.
I love that. Yeah, because I mean, unfortunately, you don't really see that too often with
Yeah.
partners. Yeah. Um, so if you had to say, I know that a lot of people don't want to say this, but like if you could choose what your ideal client would be, like what would be their vibe? Who is your ideal client?
Yeah, that is a hard conversation. And like, I didn't want to have it when I first became a doula, but I've learned a lot of things. So I think for me, like, curiosity is my biggest thing. And I like to work with people who are also curious. Like, don't be afraid to ask questions. Be curious about like what's happening in my body, what's happening with my baby. Because like when they're more open to things like that, then we can have conversation. Then I
Yeah.
know that like if I'm telling you something that you're going to be open to it and maybe we could do research together. And then also that tells me that when your doctor tells you something, you're more likely to ask questions or like ask why, which is like one of the biggest things that people miss out on, like, people never ask why.
Yeah. Yeah, you always want somebody who's like who wants to take authority over their health and what's going on with their
Yeah.
pregnancy. Um, okay, and before you take on a client, what's like one of your very important questions that you like to ask them?
I probably phrase it differently every time, but it's along the lines of like, what's the most important thing to you in this entire process? Because I want to know, like, that client that had her most important thing was that her partner knew how to support her. And if I ask you that question, you're like, I don't know. And like, I'm wondering, why are you hiring me? And then like,
Hmm,
are you, if I tell you something, are we gonna get to the hospital and you're gonna let whatever happen happen no matter what I say?
right. That's a good question. And if you had to give just one tip to one of your birthing clients, what would it be?
Spend some time listening to your body. And that's hard for a lot of people to do, but that's why I also do yoga.
So do you recommend to your clients like meditation, breath work,
Yes,
yoga?
definitely meditation, definitely like very specific time where you're sitting and talking specifically to your baby. Even if it's just like talking through how you're gonna set up the room or talking through like what you want their life to look like, just to like build that deeper connection, and even like doing some movement and acknowledging that you're growing this baby inside of you while doing that movement, because it changes your mindset.
Hmm, yeah. And do you think it's important for moms to, I mean, it should be important before, but to do some type of like shadow work, during their pregnancy?
Yes, because the thing nobody wants to talk about is like the very real spiritual part of this whole journey. Like, it was spiritual when you conceived. It's spiritual through the whole time. Like, lives aren't just like the organs inside of us. They're like your very soul, the morals that people instill in you. So like, knowing that the trauma that lives in your body is going into your baby. And then trauma that maybe you forgot about is going to affect you when you have to like transition a life out of your body. That's all going to come rushing to you, and like, there are emotions you can't control. So like, I definitely spent some time like meditating, journaling, doing that deep shadow work. And then like, it might not feel good, but that's also why like we need to think about our real support system, and you get to know like who's really for you at that
Hmm,
time. So if the people who are for you when you're doing your shadow work while pregnant are the people that are gonna be with you doing the right stuff after you have that baby.
right. Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I do find that a lot of times whenever there's like stalled labor or any type of stagnation, it's some type of trauma that hasn't been dealt with.
yes. And I tell people like, your baby needs the yes. Your baby is not going to come into a world in which they don't feel comfortable. So if you can't mentally give them a yes, then why would they just pop out? Like, I'm here to face this trauma with you. Like, no, I want to
Okay,
come
I'm
with
not going out there.
you.
I agree. Okay, and then on the flip side, if you had to give a tip, just one tip to a future doula, what would it be?
That question you asked me, like, don't be afraid to think about what your ideal client looks like. Because then,
Yeah.
like, you know, like, what kind of work you want to do. But I guess also with that, find your niche. It helps you figure out, like, who you want to work with, what kind of work you really want to do, whether you're, like, staying in birth or, like, stretching postpartum. Um, and just, like, helps you get recognized more. So, like, people can distinguish you amongst the world of doulas that are out there now.
So that just made me think of another question. How do you find your clients?
I've been shouting my name on the rooftops. um, but because I've done like a prenatal yoga training, I try to kind of get in that way because like I'll offer this prenatal yoga. And then it's like, well, if you still want more support, like I'm here. But also like groups, um, telling people who will tell other people. It's really like networking is such a big thing, but once you put yourself in a space, you just keep coming across lots of different people.
That's so smart, the prenatal yoga.
Yeah.
I love that. Um, and what do you do for self-care after you attend a birth?
Ooh, lots of water,
Mm.
lots of sleep. And then I used to have this thing happen to me like right after a birth. Like I could feel all of the energy that like I exerted but also took in from the birthing person and like almost faint it would have me. So a lot of meditation.
Wow. You're like a
Yeah.
channel.
Yeah. And it took me so long to figure out because I've been thinking about going to midwifery, but I'm like, if I'm nearly passing out at the end of birth that I'm supporting, like how am I gonna get into midwifery? So I had to learn like to do that good spiritual work.
Yeah, definitely. Protection baths and visualization, all that good stuff. Um, and I know that as a doula myself, like being a doula is not the only thing that I do. And I talk to a lot of doulas, they do a million of other things. So,
Yeah.
what else besides doula work do you do? And you also do yoga, I know.
Yes. I'm also like a full-time teacher.
What?
Yeah. Um, so I've actually like switched schools so that like my workload is way lighter than it used to be. I was a special ed teacher for 8 years. This year I'm in preschool. I'm actually teaching yoga to preschoolers. So very different. But that means that like I can spend more time with my doula clients and doing things like I also do cuddling. I write, so I do like children's books. I write Mexi literature. And I have like a slow study of herbs going.
Nice. I love that. Wow. I can't believe you're a full-time teacher.
Yeah.
You do it all. Like, where do you get the energy?
I do not know. And faith.
Yeah. Okay, and oh, I already asked you how you find your clients, but how can people get in touch with you?
So you can find me on Instagram as Doula Jamina and on my new website, Mary Jane's Couch Space.
Yay! All right, Jamita, it was so good talking to you. I feel like I could talk to you forever, but I won't. I'm sure you have other things to do. But thank you so much for doing this with me, and I'll send you like a copy of the recording and everything.
Perfect. Thanks for asking me. I loved it.
Of course. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.
Take care.